People pretend that they know everything. You call even a first-time homebuyer or someone who's bought 10 properties, they think they know it all because the internet is at their disposal.
They closed $100 million in sales volume, which is just nuts. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that.
Sometimes you have to hold a hand for the client and walk every single step with them so that they're satisfied, plus they feel that they're secure.
What is something that you guys have found now that you didn't know when you were, say, a few months in or 1 month in?
You take care of mental health first before you take care of the business. What's bothering you? How's family? What's affecting you? How can we make it better? Are you overworking yourself?
But if you just let it bottle up, eventually it'll explode like a volcano. So we have two brothers on the podcast today, something that's very, very cool to see in the real estate industry. Tight-knit family, just working together on the daily grind, conquering the market. These guys run their very own team here in Edmonton of over 24 agents, and it's called Elevate Realty Group. Really fitting name, because they've just elevated the standard of excellence for all agents out there with their training, events, much more. And last year, as a team, they closed $100 million in sales volume, which is just nuts. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that. And on top of that, one of them is really into Formula One and just loves cars overall, which I'm really looking forward to dive into. And the other has a super solid background in new construction, working for a large builder in the area, which is an asset that not very many real estate agents have. So, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Jas and Rav Ahluwalia. Welcome to the pod, guys.
Thank you for having us, man. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
Absolutely.
We're happy to have you on. Happy to have you on.
You guys are our very first guests in this brand new studio, so thanks so much. Hopefully it's a lucky charm.
Sure.
Thanks for having us.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks.
Shout out to Planet Sound and the rest of the team out here. Very happy to have you guys a part of the project. And, you know, ever since we came into this, you've been most accommodating. If you're looking to have a podcast or whatever it is you're looking to do, these guys are the guys to do it. Best in the city.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome, man.
So just to kick things off, just outside of real estate, who is Jas and Rav?
So Jas and I guess he's Rav. You gonna talk about us?
Yeah.
Sure. So I've been in the business for about 4.5 years now, fifth in the process. Before that, I've held different corporate positions in management and then got into real estate. Always been into business back in India as well. That's pretty much who I am, man.
That's awesome. From my understanding, you had a Yamaha dealership in India.
Yeah, I managed that with my dad.
Nice.
Is that still running?
No. So when we but when we moved to Canada, we had to shut all our businesses down. That was one of the businesses that we had. The other one was a furniture manufacturing unit. We used to supply all over India, do some interior designing as well. And the motorcycle part was my dad's, and then the furniture side was my mom's. And just managing both the businesses. But even before that, like before Yamaha, we had Suzuki. And then before Suzuki, we were into tractors and whatnot. So I've been in automobiles like all my life.
Beautiful.
Now real estate, so.
In other words, cars and business are just in your blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that.
What about you, Rav?
I started my real estate career last year, and being most probably like in the end of March, I'll complete 1 year being a realtor. Before that, I was working with the builder for like 3 years.
Okay.
So new home sales was something which really intrigued me. So something I would say that one thing which got me into real estate was the new home sales. Once I did that for a couple of years, and I thought that this is something I want to pursue my career in.
For sure.
That's why I got my license last year. And it's pretty good for me since then.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, clearly. That's awesome.
And something to put out there, like for new construction, like there is so much knowledge that realtors honestly don't even have. And I'm sure Rav knows it all. Like their contracts are like 20 pages long. And you have to get your clients to initial every single page and all the different terms and the different specs that, like, quite honestly, sometimes you leave on the ASM or like the builder rep, right? But that's a huge asset that you have. Like, I commend you for that.
100%. The knowledge I gained working with the builder was amazing, especially on the building side and the construction. lot of stuff you walk into the house and naked eye you can't see. So if you know the construction side of it, 100%, it gives you an advantage on it.
For sure, man. Gives your clients confidence.
100%.
There are so many bad stories out there dealing with builders.
Yeah.
I think it was last year, I was representing a buyer, and that builder had a clause in there. If you change your mortgage broker, you have to pay a $1,200 fee.
Wow.
If I hadn't read that and we did change a mortgage broker, we would have paid that. It's insane.
Wow. That is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
All realtors, read your builder's contracts. Don't just leave it on the sales associate. Protect your clients. They're using you for a reason.
100%.
For sure. Coming into that, by the way, I mean, I find in real estate from the clients that we speak to, I mean, we work with people from, who have less than a few months of experience to people who've been in the industry for 30, 40, sometimes 50 years. And I'm curious to see what is something that you guys have found now that you didn't know when you were, say, a few months in or 1 month in, that you now know.
People pretend that they know everything.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You call even a first-time home buyer or someone who's bought 10 properties, they think they know it all because internet is at their disposal. But you have a conversation with them once you break the ice and you realize, as you know, that they don't know everything. So I think assumption is going to take you down. Like assumption is, you should not be assuming that, hey, if I'm talking to a lead, I'm talking to a client, and they say, hey, I got it all covered. 90% of the time, they don't have it covered. And that's something you learn in experience because the newer agents, you get on the phone, you call, and they're like, hey, we already have a mortgage broker. We're good to go. Back off kind of thing. But you got to break the ice to get in there to help them out because they don't know what they're doing.
I completely agree with that. Sometimes you have to hold her hand for the client and walk every single step with them so that they're satisfied, plus they feel that they're secure in what they're doing it.
Yeah. So what are some ways that both of you guys personally like break the ice and build that trust like really early on?
I think the biggest thing, Shankar, it's how do you take that anxiety away from them, right? And you and I both know that Edmonton, we've got a lot of first-time home buyers.
Tons.
Right? So that question is killer. Like when I get on the phone with a lead that someone signed up on my site and all I asked them, hey, are you a first-time home buyer? And they're like, yes. That's the first wall breaker right there. Where are you in that process of buying a house? Congratulations for taking that step. But where are you in that process? They're like, we just started looking. Now that's where you come in. How about I spend some time with you, invest my time in you, and explain how it works so you can make an informed decision. Is it valuable to you? So in all my conversations, it's all about adding value. So if I can add value, the wall comes down.
Yeah.
Answer your questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say like is the biggest thing that really helps show the person that, yeah, you are on their side and that you're there to provide them with value?
There's a term called SAL, shut up and listen. People love to talk about themselves. Give them the opportunity. Hear them out. And once you hear them out, you understand, you reply accordingly. That's where the biggest difference is between people who are just listening to reply or listening to understand. Is a big difference in that, right? So it comes down to that 100%. All my wins have been because I shut up and I listen to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Simple act of listening. It really goes a long way.
And open-ended questions. Asking open-ended questions. If you ask a question where you know you're going to get an answer, either it's a yes or a no, that conversation's not going anywhere.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. But back to you, Rav. From my understanding, you worked a little bit in the food industry prior to getting into sales.
Yes. Like I came here as a student. So I started with Starbucks. So
What were you studying?
I used to
if you
work
don't
at
mind me
Starbucks too.
yeah. Where?
Millwoods, yes.
Okay.
I was a supervisor.
Yeah. I started Starbucks in Kamloops back in BC.
Okay.
I did my master's there in marketing. So as a student part-time job, I started Starbucks, stayed there with them for like almost 4 years.
Yeah.
I was an assistant manager when I left there. After that, I was in a restaurant business, was a bartender, did that for some time. Then COVID came. Food industry wasn't that great then. So then I
Okay.
decided to move into something new. So
Well, fair enough. And what made it, Jas, you were already in real estate at that time.
2019, yeah.
Okay.
I went through
Awesome.
this
And so was it just, did you have a conversation with Jas? It was kind of like, hey, let's like come on board with
Okay.
me and do this? Or was it something that
The
you wanted to
main
go off
thing
on your
with-
own and do your own
the
thing?
main
as
thing
well?
which got me into real estate was me buying my first home. So
Interesting, okay.
in 2019, Jas helped me find my house and
Yeah.
the whole process, the way we went through. And that was so exciting for me having my first home in Canada. And I felt like this is something I want to share with other people too.
That's beautiful.
So that was something I wanted to get into it. So just entering real estate without any experience, I felt like I should have some backup.
Sure.
So that's why I wanted to work with the builders first and then enter in the industry.
So you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys moved from India
To Kamloops first.
to
as
Kamloops to BC.
Yep, as students.
Interesting. Why BC? Just out of curiosity.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
So expensive though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're an international student and you go to, doesn't matter what part of Canada, your tuition fees is significantly higher than the local residents here.
Yeah,
So at
absolutely.
that
right, yeah.
part, for me, and I went to the same university he did. For me, it was important to not go to a big city because I know myself, I'm a big spender. If I would have gone to a bigger city like Vancouver or Toronto, I would not have saved. I would not have done what I could have done, what I did in Kamloops. So Kamloops being a smaller city, again, you're just focused on studying and sleeping and friends and whatnot, right? You have nothing to spend on. So I didn't even have a car. Like we used to take the bus everywhere. So
Yeah.
Well,
saved every penny I could and then got my first job in Edmonton, moved here.
Nice.
that's something I think many agents neglect from my understanding in any case. And that's not just the actual sales and building your business as a realtor, but also the accounting side and actually building the systems in place.
It's so important, man. The systems, the processes. I
Yes.
think that's the foundation of your business.
No, you're absolutely right. A business in itself is just a collection of different systems and processes. What would you say if you had tips? You mentioned that you're a big spender. Tips for agents who are struggling with, do I spend money on this? Do I spend money on this? Struggling with their accounting, saving money. What advice would you have for them?
Someone who's just starting out.
Exactly.
So with any business, you got to spend money to make money. That's the first philosophy. If you're a miser, if you think I'm going to just cut corners everywhere, not going to spend money to start my business, you're probably going to suffer a lot. The most important thing is you have to understand what kind of an agent you want to be. So are you just going to be dependent on social media, which is videos? Or are you also going to do lead gen? Or are you going to do a hybrid of those things? Again, everything costs money, right? If you're doing lead generation, Facebook, Google, PPC, and whatnot, it's a question that they need to answer first. And then from there, you start investing. You start small, right? You start small. And even if you're doing videos, start with your own equipment before you go out and buy $10,000 worth of equipment. So my 2 cents would be understand where you want to be and talk to the people who've already done this. Do not reinvent the wheel and go from there. Because there's so many things you can do, man. Like if I had to change anything about what I did, I would hire an assistant sooner than later.
Like an unlicensed assistant or a VA? or,
Unlicensed assistant.
Telling you it makes all the difference. I'm telling you. Yeah.
It
I
changes
wish I had that advice.
it's changed my business significantly.
Yeah.
Like if I'm out showings, and I'll give you an example of yesterday, I had 9 showings. And my assistant, so she works from 3 p.m. to 7. That's all she does. And all she does is makes calls for me, like prospecting. So this prospecting happening every single day for me. And today, after I'm done with the podcast, you have 6 more showings after.
Yeah.
So those showings were all done because she was calling those people yesterday, and I have showings lined up. So there's systems and processes in place that, again, we meet every week and we talk and we see what we can do to improve and whatnot, but it produces results. Now I can't be showing homes and making the calls at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that where most of your leads come from? Is from prospecting, or is it lead gen, PPC?
So being in my 5th year now, I
Yes.
get a lot of referrals, so repeat business.
yes.
Plus we have a lot of lead gen as well. So we've got a couple sites that we run within the team.
Yeah.
And we generate leads. We also have an ISA, so internal sales. So see that does the qualifying for us.
Wow.
And then I have a personal assistant who does a little bit more on that. Social media, I used to do a lot. Now I've put that on the back burner because I'm always out in the field. And then I mentor about 6 agents right now as well. So I've got a lot on the go. And if I didn't have the systems and the processes in place, I think I would fail. An assistant is number one. Once you start making over $60,000, $70,000, get yourself an assistant because you could double it the next year.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, okay, did we get into Formula One? No, we didn't. So yeah, I really want to know about that.
No problem. The first race is the Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like, what got you into that, and like, what's your dream car?
It changes, man. If you would ask me, well, the car is unattainable. It's a LaFerrari. So only, I think, 50 of them were made. I'm a Ferrari guy. I'm not a Lamborghini guy.
How come?
Ferrari's focus on engine. Lamborghini's focus on beautifying the car. If you ever go into details and learn about what Enzo Ferrari did when he was creating the engines,
Yes.
you would have, again, everybody's different, but I love what he's done. It's more about the engine for me.
Because I completely agree with you. The reason why Lamborghinis, they deter me is because it's a very flashy, stereotypical millionaire car.
Yeah.
You ask any watchmaker, any real watch collector who has spent a ridiculous amount of money on watches, they're not going to tell you Rolex is the best watch, right? But everybody is that, Rolex is the epitome of what a stereotypical millionaire
Status.
status symbol, exactly. I feel like Lamborghini is that for cars.
It is.
That being said, though, I love the story of how Lamborghini started.
Yeah.
I love the story of, and for those who don't know, he was the owner of the founder of Lamborghini. Originally, was, and correct me if I'm wrong, originally was working for or had a few pieces of advice for Ferrari on how they could improve their cars.
Yeah. So
Right.
Lamborghini was doing tractors at that time.
Yes, yeah,
Is that
exactly.
it? Yeah.
And then the people at Ferrari, what they said was, why would I get advice from someone who builds tractors?
It was a transmission issue. I remember that story very clearly.
Yeah.
It was a transmission issue.
Maybe you can better tell the story then.
So
Yeah.
he was into farming and he was building those Lamborghini tractors for people, and he was rich, so he was buying cars from Ferrari.
Yes.
So he had Ferraris, and then he started having transmission issues. He tried to fix those transmission issues, and he was able to fix them. So one day, Enzo Ferrari was getting out of his office. He goes to him and he's like, I think this is what we should do. And then, as politely as you can say it, he asked him to go fuck yourself. So he went in, and then the Lamborghini Countach, the Murcielago, and then all of those started to come up. But yeah, it's a cool story for sure.
I'm a sucker for an underdog. My family, we came here from Durban, South Africa.
Yeah.
One of the most impoverished areas in South Africa, which already has one of the highest crime rates. We came here with 8 suitcases and nothing else. And if people see where we are now, 14 years later, from where we started, from when my parents, they could only put $20 in the car, from when, I would come to school with holes in my clothes, I would get made fun of for my accent, and I would get made fun of who I was, and I get looked down upon. Those people are the same people that ask me for advice now on how to run a business, on how to start a business. And it's, I don't know, for me, it's not something of seeing how far you've come. It's seeing, are you still the same person? Do you still have the same principles as you did when you first started? And are you still, are you still humble? Are you still kind? Do you still treat people with respect?
Yeah.
I
think a lot of us immigrants, and Shiv, you can attest to that as well. I'm sure your dad came over here and he worked his ass off, and you've seen that. And I guess it's with us immigrants, we have no other option. We have to work hard. We have to out to everybody else. It's just in us.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like I've never ever had that level of motivation. I was born here. In certain aspects, I feel like I was just handed certain things. So, but yeah, I guess like my motivation really stems from just making my parents proud and knowing that the sacrifices that they made to come here, like I just don't want those to go in vain. Like, yeah, it's a very, very similar story to my dad. Like, his dad passed away when he was like 8 years old. So he never had even close to what I have. And it's just, honestly, it'd be such a shame if I wasn't able to live up to that. So,
Yeah.
but again, I feel there is still that level, that barrier, that level of motivation that won't be there that you guys would have had, if that makes sense.
You still live at home?
I do, yes.
Move out and you'll get it.
That's another thing. So I know.
Yeah.
I get shit on all the time about this, but so actually both my sisters are married and I'm the only kid left. And
Yeah.
it's just, I feel my parents will only be this young once. And
Agreed.
I want to be able to spend time with them.
No, that's good.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I look up to Shivankar in many ways, and one thing I do very much admire about him is, and just about Indian culture in general is, how close they are with their families.
Yeah.
It's something that's, I don't think, especially in Canadian society, I don't think it's something that's very common. And for me, the family and my family name means so much to me on a very deep level. And it's very nice to see that reciprocated. It's one of the reasons why Shivankar and I are such close friends, actually.
Yeah.
Because maybe you can tell the story of how Shivankar was originally one of the first people I ever cold called when I started this.
Added me randomly on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And he's like saying something that, he's starting a new business about real estate. I was like, okay. He's like, can I call you? I was like, okay, yeah, call. And then he sent me his number and then I call him. He's like, oh, that was quick. You're a super quick responder. I was like, yeah, what's up? And then he said, and then he kind of did like catfish it. Like he's kind of clickbait.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't remember the conversation.
Yeah, I would have to pull back the conversation again in LinkedIn. But he said something along the lines of that he's doing something with e-commerce and real estate. I was like, okay, so that sounds interesting. So I'll call him.
I was in e-commerce before. This is literally like we're still in website development. Like this is prime, like start of virtual exposure.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue on.
And then, so I call him and I'm like, okay, so what's up? Like, what are you doing? Right. And he's like, oh, well, we're like a couple guys that just started the company and we're doing listings, like RMS pictures and everything. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, okay, you have a website and stuff. And then he sends that to me. Like I don't like completely shut off because I really liked his energy. I'm really, really big on energy. And I don't know, sometimes I am able to sense whether or not someone's genuine. And I'm sure you guys can attest to that too. Mm-hmm. You can just tell with people's tonality, their body language. And there's just something about the guy that just made sense. And then it wasn't until like, I think a year later where like I got a listing, it was a new build that I thought, okay, yeah, I should give his services a try. And then we met in person and then.
That's not true. He forgot about it. He completely forgot about it. Put it to the back of his mind. This is only after he's only seen this after he's dug into the archives. Time goes on. Originally you found us from an iGuide. On iGuide how you have your branding?
Mm-hmm. No, that's not how I found you, bro.
How'd you find me?
The LinkedIn thing. I knew I had you in the back of my mind. I swear to God. I had him in the back of my mind. I didn't know this. Virtual exposure. And then I remember you specifically texted me your website. And then I was like, damn, his pricing is good. And the quality is very good too. I was like, I've never seen this. But then I just put it on the back burner and I was in a different state in the business too. Then like I didn't have too many listings. And then the listings that I had were kind of trashed, to be quite honest. So I wasn't getting professional pictures. I was just getting measurements and taking pictures myself. And then eventually I got a really, really nice new build. And then I was like, oh, I remember this guy. So I booked him in. The rest is history.
Rest is history. Rest is history.
Yeah.
You start off small and then you go big.
That's exactly. Rob, tell us about yourself.
What would you like to know?
What outside of real estate and outside of what it is that you do and the purpose that you have in your life, what does Rav like doing? What hobbies do you have? I would say
Hobbies, I would say I really like cooking. But I don't put a lot of time into it. But the day I feel like today is the day I want to cook something, I'll take proper time, go do the groceries, make a long list, and do something not a normal cooking, like something special.
Okay.
Like restaurant style cooking.
You can
Oh,
say
dude, you
that.
gotta invite me over sometime.
100%.
What do you cook?
I can cook anything you say. So
Yeah?
I'm
YouTube.
not
They cook anything.
Exactly.
Just follow
Some
the recipe.
biryani, some butter chicken,
yeah,
some.
biryanis, curries, naans, all of that stuff. Plus, last 6 months I've started doing crypto and stocks. So that's something I'm putting my time into.
Okay.
And doing my own research and study for that. So that I feel would be something more like a hobby for me
That's awesome.
going forward.
Oh, very nice. Tell us about that. What's are you more researching into day trading, or is it just long term
Long
investing?
term. No, because to be honest, for the day trading, you have to put a lot of time. And you have to be active. And working in real estate, I don't get that much time. So it's just usually at night when I have my own time, I'll read about it and things which I feel, okay, it's going to grow in the certain time, I'll put money there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty much that would be like, if you guys been hearing the news from last week, the Bitcoins is on the heights. So anyone who's been investing in crypto, they're getting good returns at this moment.
I think it went up to what, 63,000 yesterday? It was close, it was hovering over 40, 45 for quite some time.
So like in last 15 days, from 45, it went to 63.
Is that your goal to eventually transition into just doing investing, or do you think you'll
No.
always be in real estate as well?
Should I hope not?
No, like real estate would always be my first goal to be as a career. But on a side business or something to play around with, stocks and crypto is something I'm looking into.
Oh, fair enough.
It's totally fair. Diversify, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming back to the thing, as in the future, I really want to open up my own restaurant, more like a cafe bar thing, like have the experience in that industry as well. So I used to be a bartender, made drinks for like 4 or 5 years for Starbucks, so know that, plus the restaurant stuff. So I want to do more like an infused kitchen kind of stuff with a cafe and a bar. So that's like the next 5-year goal.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. In Edmonton,
Depends wherever I can get the best location.
best lease rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I know 2 realtors, or 3 realtors actually.
You're probably going to get more now. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Nice, nice. So tell us about first coming into the business. How did you guys get your first client? Jas, you can start, and then Rav, I'll let you go as well.
I think he was my first client.
Oh, seriously? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
first
he was,
one.
he was
2019.
my very first client.
Oh.
I didn't even know how to write an offer at that time. I had to call my broker. I think it was a Sunday. I was like, I need you to come down to the brokerage and tell me how do you write a offer on a condo, because documentations are different, right?
Yeah.
He was my first client. Like if we're talking about an actual client, it was from an open house. So I did open houses for senior agents, religiously did that every weekend, and started to build up my database from that. And one thing that I did religiously was follow up. Even if I had nothing to offer at that time, or there were no listings that were there that matched their criteria, I would give them exactly that information that, hey, I'm looking out for you, but there's nothing there yet. So that's how I got my first client. And then I still remember that client. He showed up. He's a cab driver. Showed up on the open house, and he came in. He was just roaming around, and I spoke to him for at least an hour and a half. He's like, I went to 3 different open houses. Nobody took me seriously. Showed him, I think in the span of 3 or 4 months, about 35 to 40 houses. But yeah, we got it done at the end of the day. I got a really nice 5-star review for that, for just being patient with him and actually taking him seriously. And since then, I think I've done about 6 or 7 deals just within his family circle, all close to $700,000 or $800,000, just because I took him seriously.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so I think that's how my first client happened. And I still didn't stop doing open houses just until last year. I still get leads from open houses, and I love them.
Yeah. I just met Rav at an open house again.
Yep.
Right.
That's how you guys came in mind. I was like, oh, we should bring them on the pod.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You're still doing it. You're in the field.
Yeah, you have to. Like, some people leave the field and they're still coaching and teaching other agents. My question is, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. Of course, at some point, you get to a point where you've got so many people that you can't be in the field and you just have to take the backseat and manage everybody. I understand that part. But for now, if you're bringing, like, especially with our cloud brokerages, if you're bringing people in, what are you offering them? Like, what's your value add? Why are they choosing you as your sponsor? So I think it's really important to understand what's happening in the market.
Absolutely. Yeah, like me personally, like I'll be quite open. I don't have anyone in my downline because I don't feel I'm at a point in my business yet where I could provide enough value to someone in my downline.
Right.
Like I want to reach that point
Right.
and provide the utmost value and get that person to a certain level in GCI.
Right.
Make them know that, okay, it was worth it signing up under Shiv.
100%.
Like, because I've just heard so many horror stories, so much wasted time, so much money wasted. Like, and you know, you spend so much time and energy getting into the business, and it's just so heartbreaking when, like, you just don't make any deals or money, right? So, I would never ever want to put that in someone in that position.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%, man. And especially, there are a lot of people that are doing it the wrong way.
Yeah,
they're doing it just to build their downlines, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, me neither.
What about you, Rav? How did you get your first client?
So as a realtor, my first client was for referral. So the houses I was selling before with the builders, I built a lot of good connections there.
Okay.
So those people, whoever was buying like their relatives or cousins, they referred it to me. So the first client was actually a client which I got from the builder who I sold the house, and his cousin wanted to buy a house. So he referred him to me to come because the relationship he had with me, the whole dealing process, he really liked it and he wanted someone to help him in that manner. So I would say gave me a great opportunity. I was listing houses, but I wouldn't say that would be my first deal because that was already like I was working with the builder, so I had the listings with them. But as a personal realtor client, I would say for helping a buyer would be something which I got from a referral, just because the relationship I had with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I really focus on relationships, having like, even if the person who's not buying the house, even if I can build a relationship with them, maybe down the line in a year or two, whenever he plans to, he'll remember that, okay, I want to go to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like my first couple deals were just referrals, just relationship. It's really hard, especially, I don't know, for me personally, being younger. And some people still say, oh, you're like baby faced, right? And it's like, it's hard to build that trust, especially with 4,400 other agents in the city.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, referrals are king.
What do you do to set yourself apart, Shiv?
Me personally, I feel is my energy. That's what a lot of people have told me. Like I'll pick up calls at 12 a.m. if needed, right? Like I'll do contracts and everything. Like I'll explain certain things in the contract that they may have missed. And really just like being more than just the real estate agent, also being their friend.
Fair enough.
Talking to them about like what they did on their weekend, simple things. And a big thing is like, at least like with our generation, like Gen Zs, like people are like texting all the time, right? Rob Biddlecombe, he was on our very first podcast. He talked about that. He's like, you can send a text to 10 different people and all 10 of them will interpret it in a different way based on like what their mood is like that day. So that's why very first thing I do is call. I hate text. Same with Blake. And it's kind of hard sometimes because Gen Z, like guys just don't pick up the phone. It's like, okay, like it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel that's where the professionalism aspect of it. What I can't overcome with my face until I'm like 40 or so, I have to overcome with professionalism.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool, man.
Some of that I've learned the hard way as well, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
With the texting part, I think a lot of people have anxiety, social anxiety, answering calls. Like, I don't think it's, yes, it is a Gen Z thing, but it's also the social anxiety thing. What am I going to say on the phone? And I've had a lot of people tell me they're not just clients, but even agents. It's like, we're scared to make that call. What if they ask us something that we don't know?
Yeah.
So I think it also comes down to a lot of confidence part as well. And I think phone calls are the most important. I usually just tell them to give me a call back.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. I was at an event the other day that we sponsored for Remax River City, and I'm not going to say who the service was because I don't want to put anyone on blast, but I had them. They're like, I was answering calls as I was going because like my phone was blowing up. It's funny. As soon as I'm busy, right now my phone's on Do Not Disturb. When I'm busy, all of a sudden and I'm sure you guys have found this as well, the gates just start flooding in.
Yep.
And your phone just starts going crazy. So he sees me, and I'm answering all these calls back and forth, and I'm helping clients, and I'm booking people in, and some of it directs to my assistant, of course. But I like to build relationships. I like to actually play a role in the actual service delivery,
Right.
and helping to make sure people are happy. Like, for example, after every appointment, and all of our clients can testify to this. In fact,
Myself
Shivanka
included.
just got a call the other day from Sharon, who's my assistant, and we follow up after every appointment because we genuinely do care a lot. It's not just about the product we provide; it's about the experience that we provide. And knowing that you're taken care for, even if you may be happy with everything, and we try to get everything right the first time, it makes such a big difference. But back to what I was saying, like, they were like, as I was doing this, they're bragging and they're saying, I never respond to my clients. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's like, yeah, I don't even give them my cell number.
It's an ego.
Like, are you kidding me? I was like, dude, are you kidding me?
Not something to be proud of.
And for me, when I originally went into car sales, and I started when I was just turned 18, and I had this guy named Kiet Sonafun, who really just saw me. I had no sales experience. I worked at Staples before. I worked at McDonald's before. I had customer service experience, but no real sales experience. And something about him, he had like 400. He had a stack of applications on his desk, and he said, "Hey Blake, taking the chance on you." And when I was in car sales, I was very nervous to actually call people. I'd follow up, and I think a lot of salespeople in general, they have this issue where they call and they're hoping that they don't answer, so they don't have to talk to them.
Absolutely.
They're following up for the sake of marking it in the CRM, right? And I found the difference for me came when, first and foremost, I looked at every single objection and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And if you guys have read Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, he talks about this. And I would write all my objections on flashcards.
Okay.
And I would practice, I would role play with people every single day. So I knew first and foremost what I was talking about. So every single objection, I had a way to overcome that. And I had it memorized in my mind so that I knew wherever the conversation went, I was prepared for it. And then secondly, instead of praying for them not to answer the phone, I started praying for them to answer the phone.
That's your paycheck.
Exactly.
That's my paycheck. You're absolutely right. And all of a sudden, everything, one after the other, started clicking. Started making more calls than every single person in there. People were just relying off leads. I was making 100 calls a day, just going through the entire records. And if I look at if there's anything that has been attributed to what I've done thus far, even though in the grand scheme of things, we still have a very long way to go, it's because of the tenacity and the ability just to hit the phones all the time.
Yep.
No.
And I'm sure you know this from prospecting as well, right?
100%, man. Even we stopped it now, but every Fridays I host a class where everybody gets on the phone and we just make calls.
Yeah.
We make calls and then we give feedback to everybody, and we just keep going and going and going.
How many dials?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, how many dials do you usually do? Like, how many calls do you usually make?
Per lead?
Yeah.
So the stats are the person answers in their 8th or 9th call. So we try to do at least 10.
Awesome.
10 calls, yeah. And so again, our team set up a little different way. I'm part of Elevate. We had another team that we created within Elevate that didn't really work well. So we disassembled that. Now we've got a new division that we started up that is for people that do not want to be on the team, but still want the benefits of the team, get the lead gen and the training and the coaching. We can come in, you have your own branding, you have your own everything.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's called Elite Agents Collective. We're still in the process of branding it to a bigger level. We've got about 5 or 6 agents on there, and that's what we're doing with them. We're training them to be better agents without them being on the team. So, yes, going back to what you're saying, calls, super important. I was in the car industry too. I've done some car sales in BC and White Rock. In
I was going to
fact,
talk to you about that actually. Yeah.
yeah, I have, and I used to get the list too. The people that have bought the cars a few years back, you call them back in to get their cars appraised and see if they want to trade in.
Exactly.
Right? So I get it, man.
Yeah.
I get it 100%.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Nice.
I feel that too, because when I started, the first thing which I was scared of was the cold calls. Like I personally didn't like it to make calls and just I was scared that what the other person's gonna say.
Yeah.
He being my mentor, I was always ask him like, what should I talk to him? He's like, don't be scared. What would happen? The worst thing. They'll say no, they'll hang up. That's it. You don't know them. Right. So at least give your best shot, talk to them and be confident about it.
It can definitely say worse than no.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I've always heard that, like, you know those memes where
Well, there are
it's
worse
like,
things that can be said. Man, if you go in my CRM and you have a look at people, like they text you that, like shit that I can't even say over here, like
Oh man.
no, it's unreal.
like
It's
terrible
unreal.
shit. But you know what? At some point when you're starting your career, you let that get to you, and then after a few months, years, you just laugh it off.
Exactly.
People are projecting on you. It's not about you. It's about them,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
So,
Exactly.
There's this great book called Levels of Energy.
okay.
And I'd recommend, if you guys haven't read it, if anyone wants to read something to really take them to the next level, not just on the world of the outer, but in the world of the inner specifically, this is what I'd recommend in it. And it talks about 3 different paradigms of thinking. And the first one is the paradigm of taking. The second one is the paradigm of doing. And the third one is a paradigm of being.
Okay.
And when you think taking, I was very, when I first came to Canada, I was very guilty of this. And it's the paradigm where, you know, the way you're thinking is, what can I take from the world? What the world owes me something. I'm here. And for me, I had a tremendous chip on my shoulder. I had a terrible temper. I once played very high level soccer and threw away my opportunities just because of my temper. And that's something that's pretty tough for me to talk about because it guts me to this day. But in the paradigm of taking what can I have from the world, and what you do is you attract scarcity into your life. By having that way of thinking, you attract scarcity. And then there's the paradigm of doing, right? What that does is, you know, you're of course taking the action. Everything in the world of the outer is great. You may be putting in 100 calls a day. You may be doing whatever it is, but you're still not thinking in terms of being who you want to be. And once you actually start, instead of, you know, doing the actions that will make you that person, you change your identity into actually becoming that person. And instead of attracting scarcity in your life, you start attracting abundance.
Yeah.
And it's something that not a lot of people, well, I guess some people talk about, but it's not spoken enough about in the real estate industry, is that they're so focused, okay, what sale did I get this month? What sale did I get this?
100%.
Instead of actually becoming the person that they need to be able to achieve what they want to achieve.
And just to add to that, Blake, I mean, the abundance mindset is where you tell yourself that you have the opportunity to do this. So for example, if you're talking about calls, we can say it in 2 ways.
Sure.
Or I have to make these calls, or I have the opportunity to make these calls.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So that opportunity is the abundance mindset.
You're
right
absolutely
there.
right. Yeah.
So if you consider yourself to be a victim and you're like, gotta make these calls.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
you have the opportunity to make those 100 calls, and even if you convert 5, multiply that by 5,000, that's $25,000 in your pocket.
for sure.
So
It's a blessing.
yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Take it however you may, but it is an opportunity.
You said it's your paycheck, right?
It is your paycheck.
Yeah.
But you should not chase your paycheck.
Exactly. Yeah.
You chase it, it runs away.
And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Because when you chase your paycheck, you're in a completely different paradigm of thinking
100%.
instead of actually being who you need to be.
Exactly.
It's like, and it speaks about this in Atomic Habits, which is another great book. And it talks about, if someone offers me to smoke, we were just talking about tequila shots before this. And RJ said something and RJ, for those, shout out to Planet Sound one more time.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, exactly. Great guys. RJ with Planet Sound, he was saying, I don't drink. And
Good man. Same here.
I don't think the importance of that can be stressed enough, because there's one thing to say, okay, if I'm offered to smoke, say, okay, I'm trying to stop quitting, right? Versus saying, I don't smoke. It's very small, but what that is an identity shift. right? It's no longer a part of who you are, right? Very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff.
Very.
100%. Like words and thoughts matters a lot, the way you think. There's another book called The Secret.
Yes.
The law of attraction.
Yes, I've read it. Yeah.
So it goes around the same thing, what you manifest and how the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
So it says that as well, that you can actually measure a thought when it's in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it has an existence if you can actually measure, right?
Exactly.
So it's really important. What are you thinking and how you're thinking?
Some deep shit right here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what podcasts are about.
No, absolutely. No, you're definitely correct.
Yeah. Let's kind of talk real estate. Like, what do you guys see the trend being for 2024 for this spring market? I mean, man, it's March 1st now, right? Like, where do you see things going for Edmonton?
In the right direction. I think they're going up. It is going to be a great year for Edmonton. And if people have the right systems in place, there's some good money to be made. You can help a lot of people. We've seen tremendous amount of movement coming from Ontario, BC. And then, in fact, when I was driving here, I got a call from Calgary. This young dude who already has an apartment in Calgary, wants to buy a house, can't buy it over there. And so he's wanting to come over here in Edmonton. So if you play your cards right, if you're consistent with what you're doing, it's a good year for you as a realtor. And for the real estate market as well, it's good. Like, it's in the upward trend. There is no other way of saying this.
Absolutely.
The inventory is at absolute low. The demand's going up. Wait till the interest rates go down.
Oh,
It's going to be a shit show here.
absolutely.
Holy. Yeah.
Better acquire some listings if you're a realtor.
Yeah.
Get some listings.
Even if you don't have, like, yes, you have to, if you have to be in this business, you have to list. They call it list to last, right? So you have to list. But even if, I think a lot of other agents that are representing buyers, I think they need to hone in their skills when it comes to multiple offers. Not about how to write an offer, but that's part of it. But also, how do you have the conversation with your client? And if that client just found you on TikTok or Instagram and you're meeting them for the first time, how do you build that rapport that, hey, I'm telling you to put $30,000 over asking of your hard-earned money? How do they trust you, right? So I guess that's where a lot of skills will come into play. And the real ones will win, and the not so real ones will not win, if I put it nicely. So
I love that you mentioned that. Like, sales is everything in this business. How you talk to people is everything.
yeah,
You want to dive into that? Like, what you would personally do for over asking?
I genuinely care. That's my thing. Like, there is no
Yeah.
there is no rocket science behind it. If I'm helping you buy or sell, I actually care. I'm gonna treat you like if I'm buying a house for myself. Doesn't matter of the price point, or if I'm helping you sell, I'll do the same thing. That is it for me. And like I always say, it's interactions over transactions for me. So if I take care of you today, everything works out. You take care of your people, money is a byproduct, man.
Yeah.
So that's me in a nutshell. I genuinely care.
You're dropping some fire today. List to last, interactions before transactions. What else did you say?
He came ready to go.
I'll give you another one. I can give you another one. And that is, we can dive into later as well once you're done talking real estate. It's about mindset for me as well, and mental health.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a bit. But over there, I say check up from the neck up, right? So
Yeah.
I like it.
Awesome. What about you, Rav? What would you say if I'm an investor coming in to real estate, right? I'm buying my first property. What would you say? And I'm looking for it to be an investment property. Could be rental, could be Airbnb, could be. What are you seeing right now as the best investment opportunity for new real estate investors, specifically looking at Edmonton?
Specifically in Edmonton, I would say anything under the 400 mark is super hot right now. Be like a townhouse or be like a half duplex.
That's what I've heard. Yes.
Yeah. So that would be the most like a hot cake to invest in right now. And especially like the market is super hot. Like even in February, January, there was multiple offers, especially in this category.
It's crazy.
And like I was working with two of my clients. I was trying to find similar properties, as you said. I booked a showing and the showing is still on hold. And the next day the guy calls me and tells me it's already sold. We had like 40 offers on it. took an unconditional. So
I think that was the one in Millwoods.
Yep.
Where it had 150 showings and 51 offers.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I remember that. I think one of my clients reached out to me and I was like, unless you're ready to go significantly over asking, I would not recommend it. And he fought me on it. He's like, no, I want to pay asking. I was like, it's not worth it. So I remember that a bunch of agents posted on social media about that listing as well, right? So Millwoods is becoming really, really hot. You try listing something there reasonably priced, it flies.
Yeah.
It flies really quick over there. And I think I'm just going to add to part where what an investor should look like in Edmonton. I think they should pick up the older homes where, and in the reno world, people say just put a lipstick on, right? You just do a little bit of renos and flip it as well. I think since the rental market has gone up, picking up those houses that needs a little bit of love, the foreclosures, you reno it up, put them as rentals, get some equity for the next year or so,
Yeah.
and then flip it.
Because the Burr method, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
rinse and repeat. You just do that. And if you're following what the Bank of Canada is saying, they're going to bring down the interest rates close to 2025 is where they're going to be in 3.5%. So if you look at that, that means we'll be seeing a lot of equity being built in those properties as we grow, as we go ahead in 2025. So as investors, if you've got the money, pick up anything under 400,000, I would say. And even with the triplexes, with legal suites or the secondary suites where you can get 6 doors, now with the new MLI program where CMHC is going to give it to you for 5%.
That's huge. Yeah.
Like if people don't know about that, then they're doing themselves a disservice.
Absolutely.
That is huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know you want to speak about this a little bit later with mindset, but I think it really does join very well with what we're speaking about. In terms of, and what we were just speaking about as well with, in terms of the world of the outer and the world of the inner, what philosophy would you say that you contribute most to your success in real estate thus far?
So if you're just talking about real estate, funny thing, it's the philosophy that I and my brokerage, we have the same tagline. It's called work hard, be kind. Right? So at the end of the day, who you are is going to reflect in your business. If you're a kind person, if you're a humble person, you are going to reap those benefits, not right away because there are going to be people that will beat you because they're assholes, but at some time down the road, you'll win. And talking about mindset, it's you take care of your mental health first before you take care of the business.
Interesting.
If I'm not happy, what do I do with the money, man?
Absolutely. I say this to Blake all the time, like health is wealth, including mental. So.
And
Hey,
real estate,
Let's not. Okay. Sure.
real estate is a lonely business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is a very lonely business. I've been on a team as I'm right now, and I've been a solo agent as well. And when I was a solo agent, trust me, it wasn't the best. Stuff that I've learned being on a team is very high level as compared to being a solo agent.
Yeah.
You need people to rent. You need people to support you mentally as well.
Who specifically?
Sorry?
Who specifically?
Well, when I joined Elevate, Paul he is still the team lead. And he basically, well, again, you can learn the real estate stuff from anybody. Anybody who's been in the business for a while, you can. It was more about, Jas, how you doing? How is Jas doing over here? Right? What's bothering you? How's family? What's affecting you? How can we make it better? Are you overworking yourself? Just having those conversations, even if those conversations didn't, having those conversations helped, even though physically he could not help me. Those conversations help. So, kudos to him, especially in my first year. I would say if he wasn't there, I would not have succeeded the way I did. It was all because of mental health, 100%.
Well, that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Something that I struggle with, honestly.
We all do. I'm not saying
yeah.
well, I'll admit to that. Like there are days where I'm like, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah.
But you gotta look at the bigger picture, and we gotta come to terms with it. The problem with human nature is we don't come terms to it with it. You know what I mean? Like we'll know that yes, this is a problem, but we're not accepting it. We keep fighting it.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna solve the damn thing. We can't.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Because for me, I've always had the mentality that, you know, whatever my feelings are at the beginning of the day, I do the exact same thing every single day. And I say this all the time, like it could be World War III outside. It could be, you know, the world could be ending. I'm still going to wake up and do the exact same thing. I could be feeling great. I could be feeling terrible. But what you're saying is completely different to that. And I find that very interesting.
Being consistent is good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should not be consistent regardless of what you're feeling. All I'm saying is you got to address it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's something I very, very much struggle with. I have a lot of, you know, past, and maybe this is something that I originally didn't want to talk about on the podcast, but, you know, let's talk about it anyway.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it anyways. You know, I've a lot of past traumas, you know, from growing up, and just in the most recent years. I won't dive too much into it, but you know, I lost a kid in my relationship.
Sorry about that, man.
While back, very, very tough relationship. Like I've had some very low points in my life. I've had the book thrown at me. You know, and for me, it's, and this is something I'm still processing, but you know, for me, I just shut off my feelings, completely ignore them. And I just do what I'm meant to do. And maybe that's good to an extent, but at the same time, you know, how do you how do you move forward in that area of your life after that? Because you may have all the success, you may have this and that, but as you said, what does it really mean?
Here's the thing: us as men,
Yeah,
you ask anybody, "Hey, how you doing?" and everybody's gonna say, "I'm okay, I'm good." But what's going up in here, nobody ever addresses it. So the challenge is like, it is gonna come back to you. Not right now because you're super busy at work.
yeah,
But it will.
yeah,
We're not letting the past affect our present, but at the same time, we gotta deal with it in whichever way you feel is the best for you.
yeah. Because for me in particular, like my family, they look at me, and this is a very important thing. Like when I was growing up, and I told my mom, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. She looked at me in her eyes and she said, "I know you will." And for me, I felt it very difficult to be vulnerable, especially around my family and around my friend group, because I almost see myself as, you know, I have to inspire my people.
Yeah.
One in my company, I have to lead my people to where I believe they need to go. And if I need to sacrifice my feelings, if I need to sacrifice my mental health to be able to do that. And we spoke about it in the last podcast with Ryan Dudka. And we were talking a little bit about depression. I was like, and you know, it's something that you don't, when you're working all the time, you don't really think about.
You don't want to think about it, but it's
And
still
that's
there.
exactly it. Sometimes you're working so hard and your head's been down for so long, you don't know how to bring it back up.
Yeah. But if you just let it bottle up, eventually it'll explode like a volcano.
It has to. You're a human. You're not a mutant,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? It has to.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
That's the word. It's okay. Not a lot of people say that it's okay to fucking feel sad.
Yeah.
It's okay to take a couple days off to take care of your mental health, because if you don't, and you're so proud of the company that you've built, the people that you're supporting and whatnot, if you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna let them down as well one day. Because you're gonna crash. I'm gonna crash if I don't take care of my mental health. And who's gonna pay the bills for my assistant? Who's gonna take care of the people that I'm mentoring?
Yeah.
What do I say to them? Like, if I don't take care of my own mental health, what do I say to them? Work just the way I work? How is it okay?
Yeah.
Right? So again,
Oh, for sure.
leading by example is another big thing. Like if you're asking your people to do something, make sure you're doing it too. It's easy to preach than to do.
Yeah.
So
It's one thing I respect about Elon Musk, actually, because I don't know. I just finished reading his biography, the one that was done by Walter Isaacson, who I consider to be one of the best biography writers ever. He did the one on Steve Jobs. He's done quite a few of them now, and he was talking about Elon Musk when he was first starting, and Tesla was going through its very rough patch. And for those who don't know, Tesla is one of two car companies that have never gone bankrupt at any single time in their history, which is unreal. Every single other one has gone bankrupt at one point in time in their history. And he was in Tesla. They weren't producing enough cars reasonably to meet their market share price. Tesla to this day is the most shorted stock ever. Everybody on Wall Street was shorting this stock because it was a guaranteed thing. He spent 3 years on the floor of his factories working out how can we make this more efficient? How can we make this more efficient? And he slept on the floor, but this is one thing that I thought was very, very powerful. And he slept on the floor with his engineers, with his staff. He could have sat in his ivory tower. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire at this time, tens of billions. And he decides to sleep on the floor with his team so they can see that he's in it with them. That was very powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
be in it to win it.
Yeah.
Right.
Another fire drop.
Yeah.
No,
cool, man.
But
I was actually because I noticed you filled that out on the form about mental health. I put that in our list of questions, but I'm so happy that you brought it up before us because that just goes to show like how important it is and how much importance you give it, which is awesome. And I think that's very, very important as a leader, like you said.
Yeah.
Leading by example, and also goes into being compassionate for your people. Like at the end of the day, like your business is your baby and like no one else is really going to care about it as much as you, but even going the extra tiny little mile to show your people that you care about them and that you're with them, the Elon Musk thing, sleeping on the floor with them, maybe not to the same extent, like it comes back.
It does.
Even in the form of blessings, or
Yeah.
if you believe in that, if you believe in karma.
100%. And then you can only go to a certain distance by yourself. It's your team who takes you to the next level. And if you don't take care of your people, you'll be back to zero in no time.
yeah.
So whatever it takes to take care of your people, you got to do.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Laksha, one of our video editors. He's working super, super hard for our content. I'll show him this part. We love you, man. We appreciate you. You're doing a great job.
He's watching this right now. Awesome. You're the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Awesome.
Wow, Jas, you blew me away with that, hey?
Yeah.
You got me rethinking a whole bunch of stuff. Typically, I go in this thinking, I'm going to be asking the questions, you know?
I'll tone it down.
No, keep it going.
No,
Keep it going.
we love it. We love it.
It's fine. Just don't make me cry.
No, bro. The thing is, if you're, I'm a big believer of having honest conversations. Like if you're having surface conversations with me, I promise you I'll zone out in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So when we sit, like when I sit with my people, and when I say people, that means people I can actually talk to and have honest conversations without judgment. That's what real relationships are. Even with friendships, that's what you need. That's what we need in today's world.
Yeah.
We're missing that. That's a big piece that's missing because everybody wants to talk about, hey, how you doing? I'm great. I drive this car. I do this over the weekend and I've done this. I'm going to eat this. I went to this restaurant. Let's have this drinks and that's it. Those are the conversations people are having.
Yeah.
But nobody's going into, how are you actually doing? How's the business? How can I help?
Yeah.
Right? So
Absolutely
anytime
right, yeah.
I get an opportunity to actually have real conversations, I go all in, bro. I
No,
don't
that's
stop.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, fair enough.
Love it. That's why I wanted you guys on the pod. Like I was having this normal conversation with Rav that day at the open house, and I just
Yeah.
felt like, man, like I connect with this guy.
Yeah,
even though we were talking for like 5 minutes.
Yep.
Felt like a brother, honestly. So
Yeah. No, thank you, man.
Good job,
Thanks for
guys.
having us. Yeah.
That's one
Yeah,
thing that I've noticed about all the guests we've had, and they're all incredibly successful people, including yourselves, and they're incredibly kind. They're very humble. I find the people, and especially the clients that we've worked with that maybe have we've had negative experiences with, they aren't doing listings. They aren't doing numbers. The reason why they're dragging on you is because they're not doing anything, right? They have the time to do so. It's very interesting, and it's something that has really blown me away. Not only just in our other podcasts, but with you guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many kinds of realtors out there. I'd rather not get started on this, but yeah, people have a lot of time on their hand to, rather than focus on their business, they focus on everybody else's business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Fair enough.
So true, though. If you want to touch on this, let's talk about your love life. I know you mentioned you're married.
Yeah.
Are you married, Reb?
No.
Okay. How did you meet your wife, and how do you balance time with her and your family? And
It's a great question. So I met her online. That was back in 2017, I think.
nice.
Actually, I think 2017 is when I get engaged. I met her before that. Okay,
Was it a dating app?
Kind of, yes.
What was it?
Interesting.
So
Okay.
it's basically your Indian app, right?
Shadi.com?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Shadi.com?
Yeah.
Okay,
We met at Shadi.com.
I haven't heard about this app.
So it's a whole
married.
it's a whole match. So it's not a dating app. It's basically you match with other people if you actually want to get married.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
More serious.
Yeah. So at that point, I was done with my college time stuff that I used to. Like I was done. I was like, okay, I'm going to be an adult now. Okay, let's settle down and whatnot. Met her. She used to work at Stantec at that time. I think we got married a year and a half after we dated. I think we got engaged, and then after another year we got married. So about 2 years, the timeline, and then that was that. She's also an entrepreneur. So
Nice.
she's a makeup artist. So we understand the language of running a business. When we talk about balance, I don't have one. I don't believe in balance. I'll tell you why. In your first, I would say 5 to 10 years of your business, if you're trying to find balance, I don't think you're going to be successful in business. But again, that's my philosophy, right? You have to give whatever it takes to set the right foundation up. And if you're trying to find balance while you're trying to set your foundation up, I don't think it's possible. When I bring people in onto the team and I decide if I'm going to mentor them or not, my biggest question to them is, and it's going to tie into this, what I'm talking about, balance. How much time are you able to dedicate to your business? And if I hear a number, you're out. And if I hear whatever it takes, you're in. So that's what my mindset is. Whatever it takes to set my business up. Yes, I don't have the balance of being at home at 8 o'clock every day, or spending time in the afternoon. I can't do that because I've got a business to run. I've got stuff that I need to do, and I need to grow my business as well at the same time. She understands that because it's the same with her. So what we do is we block time. We literally block time. It's like, hey, go have dinner. We're not doing business at this time. So we try to figure it out. We manage. But the great part about both of us being entrepreneurs is we understand that language. We understand the language that, hey, if I'm driving and she's on her phone replying to her inquiries that she's gotten, it's okay if we're not having a conversation. But when she's off the phone, we can chat, we can listen to the music or whatever we can. But it's an understanding, man. Didn't happen overnight because she was still working her 9 to 5 when I got into the business. So it was a bit of an adjustment, but a good adjustment, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So you would say like that's like the number one thing that kind of has attributed to the success of your marriage?
Say that again?
Would you say that's like the number one thing that's attributed to being able to, I guess, like the success of it, and just being able to see like eye to eye on business?
Yes, on the business side of things, yes. And that trickles down into your relationship as well. Patience is really important. The good thing is that this business teaches you patience. So you can apply that patience to your relationship as well.
Yeah.
And having, again, honest conversations. Sometimes I come across rude because I'm way too honest, but you have to understand the silver lining on that. So I would say, yes, that is one of the most important pieces that has led to success of my business and my relationship at the same time.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Rav, any plans anytime soon?
Not yet. Still thinking about
Still think. How old are you, by the way?
it. I'm 30.
30. Okay. Cool. Still lots of time. It's fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Blake, you want to carry forward?
Sure. So speaking a little bit more on, so I'm sorry, I'm just so taken aback by what you've said so far. Yeah,
It's all right, man.
I'm just processing everything right now. But
If one thing you can take from whatever we had, just take, you got to lead by example. That's it.
yeah,
And then whatever you want to do, it's all up to you.
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Coming back in to, trials and tribulations you go through in your life. Can you guys touch a little bit on, what's the lowest point you've had in real estate and just almost in life in general? And how did you guys overcome it?
I'll let you go first.
To start for real estate, I would say once I left the builder and I was just working on personal deals, and I guess I didn't make any deals for the first 3 months. So having no paycheck coming in, or you're not making anything, but you still have your expenses, was the most stressful time for me. That I've taken a decision of being my own boss or being self-employed, but I'm not making. But I would say the best thing which helped me was actually talking about it to Jas. So having a real conversation about it, that this is what I'm going through. And it was just that there's someone who's listening what I'm going through and what's happening with me. He's not going to get me some business and be like, okay, go do this deal. But at least
Which I did, but sure.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, of course.
My dad did that for me.
Yeah. But I was saying more like as a brother
Yes.
or a mentor, you can say. But that was something which I felt gave me the patience that, okay, it's okay to be what's going on. It'll work out. Give your time, do whatever you can to make your business grow, and one day it will come to it. So I would say just putting that work in consistently was something which actually got me out of that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And what about you, Jas?
If we talk career-wise, so before I got into real estate, I was in IT recruiting.
Okay.
So we used to hire people for Fortune 500 companies. We used to help them with their IT initiatives. And I was there with them for about, I think, 2 years, decent money. And then there came a point where I was up for promotion and that didn't happen. And I was given the runaround. And one day I go to my manager's office and I was talking to her and I'm like, I need an answer. And she's like, I don't have an answer for you. Don't kill the messenger. All the bullshit stuff that you can hear. So for some reason, I found out they promoted somebody else who did not look like me. I'm like, okay. So the next day, I gave my notice.
Wow.
And picked up my shit, packed up, left. The moment I gave my notice, the only reaction I got from them was okay. And then in 15 minutes after I gave my notice, I was escorted out of the building. So that was hard. But at that point, I've already started studying for my real estate exams. That part where I did not have any money coming in, my wife was working. For a man to go through that where you literally have zero income is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And switching from this was the second biggest challenge for me, was switching your mindset from an employee mindset to a business mindset. Where I was doing 9 to 5 for the past, I think, about 4 or 5 years. Before I was a student, but then you become a real estate agent, you make your own hours. Now you're not an employee anymore. Who taught you not to be an employee? Who taught you to be a businessman? Who taught you to manage your own hours? Nobody did.
Yeah.
The challenge to overcome that was, I think, my hardest part in this career. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. You ask people this, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And they're like, I want to make my own hours. I want to be my own boss. That's the most common answer, right?
I want to make more money.
How the fuck do you do that? Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to make your own hours? Are you good at time management?
I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Like I can literally sit here and ask you 10 questions and you will say, I'm going to go back to my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was my biggest challenge, to overcome that mindset where I was told what to do and now I have to figure out what I have to do myself.
Yeah. I call that burning the boats. And the reason why I call it that, if you look at the history of Mexico, the Aztecs were by far and away the most powerful civilization that had ever been at that time. They had the most money. Their cities had 1 million plus people, whilst Paris, in comparison, had 100,000. On every scale, on every metric, in terms of like the success of a civilization, they were above everybody. Cortez, the person who ended up conquering the Aztecs, he had 500 men. They'd already, and not that like these people aren't very nice people in history, in all honesty with you, but we'll continue for this example. He had 500 men, and they've already looted up all their boats. They already have gold. They came there. The conquistadors, they were primarily motivated by money. And so they came in, and what they said was, we have all our money, we have our gold, and we want to go back to our families. We want to go see our wives. We came here what we came to do. Let's go. Cortez is on a different path. He decides, we need to win. I want Aztec civilization, is what he says. And maybe this isn't the best thing in terms of history, but what he does is, instead of trying to just inspire his men and go through, because when you have two options, you're going to go to the easiest. You're going to choose the option that's the easiest, right? Mm-hmm. What he did was he burned every single one of the boats. All the gold gone. Now they only had one option. 500 men, and they won. They won the war.
It's the mindset.
Once you go all in on something, and this is something I've found is very common, not only in just real estate, but in people that I've spoken with in different industries who've made different businesses that have all become incredibly successful. At one point in time in their career, they dive right in. They risk everything and they go for it.
Yep, it's all in or nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're all in or nothing.
So did you didn't touch too much on your parents? So are they here in Canada? Are they back home? And
so back in 2011, our father passed away. So we were
sorry to hear that.
Thank you guys. Yeah. We were still back in India at that time. I think it was a year before I moved to Canada. And my mom and my grandmother, they were still back there, but we moved them here 2 years ago. So my mom and my grandma now live with me.
Awesome.
So they're here. Yeah,
awesome. What would you say are some lessons that both of you guys learned from mom and dad that really attributed to your success today?
My dad was a very, very hard worker. He was not a good businessman. He was very emotional. Examples like people came to buy motorcycle, like bike from him, and if they would butter him up, he would let it go at cost.
Wow.
So he was, but you can have him work 24 hours. Like he wouldn't care. Like he would even go to the showroom on his days off.
Wow.
But he was not very smart. So I learned two things. Being emotional is good, but then you have to control that as well. Relationships is what I learned from him. Every single person that he sold motorcycle to, he remembers them with their first name.
Nice.
So I try to implement that in my life as well. Like every single person I've ever sold a house for, they remember me with my first name and I remember them with my first name, because every year they do receive a gift from me. And it's not that somebody's delivering it, I deliver it by myself.
That's awesome.
For our brown community, it's either on Diwali
Yeah.
or for the white community, I do it on Christmas.
That's awesome. Me and Blake were talking about that. We're like, we should start giving gifts every year on Christmas or something, or use some sort of service.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
in person.
you got to be taught. Like I was listening to another podcast yesterday and this agent from Texas, and she's like, you know what a good winter gift is? Washer fluid.
Wow.
That's actually smart.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good.
Go pick up, and you can even order carts from Costco's website, and they send you, like, you can buy hundreds of them. You put your own branding on there and you deliver it. It's like $4 each. But you know how thoughtful that is?
Unreal.
Because
I'm taking
everybody
notes.
needs washer fluid in winter, right?
That's awesome.
I was like, whoa, where did that come from?
yeah.
You can give them, you can, people get wines, cookies, fridge magnets that nobody cares about. But you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But stuff that actually matters, the thoughtful stuff.
Yeah.
What's a useful gift that I can get agents?
Cash.
Agents.
Cash is king.
I have a few ideas in mind. I've given gift baskets and stuff like that before.
Good question.
Car
I'm
fresheners,
just curious.
I think is good. Car freshener is good because we spend so much time in our cars. Battery packs.
By the way, we
MagSafe
have
ones.
car fresheners and battery packs over there. Just playing.
Yeah, so I think battery packs is good because we our phones run off battery really quickly.
Okay. Yeah.
Something that you can put your branding on. So that every time they're pissed off when their phone dies, they're like, oh, Blake.
Yeah,
Something to remember.
Interesting.
yeah. I think for us realtors to give clients gifts out, I like to make it about them and not about me.
Yeah.
What do they want my face on their knives or on their chopping board?
Yeah, like who cares? Yeah.
No, but why do you want my face there or my name there? No. What I did was in my first year, I had a lady who made custom art. So what I did was, so let's say Mr. and Mrs. Kumar established 2019. So just like Home Sweet Home for Mr. and Mrs. Kumar 2019. And then everybody that I've given it to, they've hung it on their walls. It doesn't say anywhere it's from me. But they know it, and that's all I care about.
I remember. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
Staying
amazing.
top of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Birthday cards are also cool. If you have a good CRM, that does it for you. They'll remind you, hey, this is this guy's birthday. And then you can choose to send a card or whatnot. Cookies by George. They have an automated system where you can tell them, hey, on those dates, you can send them cookies out. There's a team in Edmonton that actually does that with realtors. So let's say if you do a deal with me, I'll send you cookies. That as a thank you for either bringing a buyer or representing the seller.
That's cool.
Well, because of those cookies, I still remember them. So mission accomplished, right?
Yeah.
Our minds are blown. Awesome.
Yeah, you never make it about yourself. You always make it about the other person. That's the goal.
What's meaningful for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you've definitely given me a lot to think about. Thank you for that.
Of course, bro.
No,
Of course.
I want to ask, okay, so the Yamaha dealership, like, what kind of models did they have back then? Did they have the R3 or?
Yeah, they had the R3 before. Well, that was, you weren't part of that. So they had the R3 just before we shut down the dealership. They launched. So we had the R15 and there were certain models that were limited to certain cities. So if you're talking about R1, R6, MT-01, all those bikes, they were available, but at a very limited quantity because the purchasing power wasn't that high, right? We were talking about motorcycles that were 100cc, 150cc.
Yeah.
So that's people that ride those on daily commutes. Then you go into 150, 250, 300, 6, 7, 9,000. Those were very, very less. Now the dynamic has changed. Now you can see the 600s and 700s and thousands and 1200s.
In India,
Yeah, they've actually,
like they're more common on the streets, the 300s and
yes. Because the purchasing power has gone up. And you got to remember, bro, in India, like the way the roads are, you'll get there quicker on a motorcycle than you would get somewhere on a car.
that's true.
So if someone's got the money, you'd rather get a Hayabusa and then just make your way out there.
4
right?
people sitting on one bike. Yeah.
You are
It's
fond
great.
of bikes a lot, right?
Yes. I got a Ninja 400 last year.
Nice.
And
Yeah. I had an R3 before that. Oh, they're so much fun.
Yeah.
Why did you switch to the Ninja? Just the engine?
Just the look. Just the look. And plus I was getting a good offer on the R3 and yeah. But R3 was my baby. Got my license on that thing.
Nice.
So much fun.
Nice. I had my fair share of motorcycles and then I got into so many accidents. I was like, I'm done.
Over here?
No, back in
back
India.
Back there. Okay.
Yeah. Then I got into cars and I'm like, okay, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm actually planning to
What are the
get
roads like?
license.
I've
Talk
never.
to me after.
I've of course seen a little bit, just online, but I've never been to India. I'd love to go. In particular, I read "Think Like a Monk" by Jay Shetty, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are familiar as well. And he went in, instead of going to university, he went in and lived, or I believe he was in university and he dropped out, if I'm not mistaken. And he went and lived with monks. And I would love to do something similar. I think it's very interesting. But in particular, what is driving like in India?
Okay,
So
so
I'm just trying to understand.
You don't want to know.
I'll break it down the easiest way possible. It depends which part of India you go to.
Okay.
So if you go to the undeveloped side of India, yeah, the roads are not the best. Some of the developed cities, there is less traffic control. But now if you're talking about going to, say, Mumbai or New Delhi, it's better. I would say those cities are probably more advanced than what Edmonton is. In a lot of other things, traffic not so much. The reason is there's so much population over there, and everybody has a car or a motorcycle. So where are you going to go? You're going to be on that road. Yeah. So certain parts of India, not so good. They don't follow the laws. Certain parts of India they do,
Fair enough.
but they're very, very less,
Yeah.
very scarce. Yeah.
In South Africa, we have this issue called load shedding. And
Sorry?
it's called load shedding.
Load shedding.
And essentially the power, the country isn't able to sustain power for everyone in the country for the entire day. And so they take it in spurts. And so they load shed, right?
Right.
And so for certain parts of the day, you don't have any power. So when you're driving, it's kind of risky because sometimes the stoplights will just go out and you just have to kind of adjust.
Yeah.
But so similar type of idea.
In India, they don't follow the lights.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
The lights are blinking, and then you've got a policeman standing over here. It's like, okay, go. He's standing, like he's telling the rest of the traffic to stop here. Tell him to go over here, even though the lights, some of them are working and some of them aren't working. So it doesn't matter. Man. It's a different world.
Yeah, no,
I wish
it
this way.
definitely
It's
is for
different.
sure.
I've only been twice. Not
What
the best
part?
experience. Just Punjab, Jalandhar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other parts of India are very different. Yeah. I can go on a tangent on this, but that's another day, another conversation.
For sure. I'm sure we'll have a few.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome.
So, how do you think AI is changing the world and especially real estate? And what trends do you guys see coming forward?
In my opinion, AI is going to help real estate. I don't think it's going to take away our jobs. I don't think so. That human touch, that emotional touch. AI is not going to help a first-time home buyer relieve of his or her anxiety. AI is there to help us. I think reading about a few things where it takes your face and your voice and then it just creates those videos for you, like stuff like that. It's going to be a helping hand. Let's just call it an assistant with superpowers.
Yeah,
That's all I think about it.
absolutely.
I don't give it too much thought. Where it's like, oh, well, what's going to happen if AI takes over? I don't think it is going to. People are not going to trust technology with their life savings.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
And you can dwell on what if something's gonna happen. That just takes away from today.
What if we get hit by a meteor and we die?
Exactly.
What if you're crossing the road and a bus hits you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't live my life in assumptions.
exactly.
At the end of the day, what things happen, and it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
100%, bro. I say that way too many times. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Take it or
For
leave
sure. I'm
it.
very much the same.
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's awesome. What about you, Rav? What do you think?
For AI, I feel it will be a very good helping tool for in real estate, but not that something which take over the human touch out of it. Like I've used it multiple times here and there for putting listings or putting some bios and here there. It really helps out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need you can't think straight to write something really good about it, and AI does it in a minute or two.
Yeah.
So
What do you find is the most effective way agents can be using AI right now?
Good question.
I would say like the brief they want to especially for the videos, the content they're trying to make, AI can actually build a script for them and give them content, what to do. Like sometimes you're brainstorming, what should I talk about? What should I say? In that manner, AI would be a really good tool to help in that. Plus, as Jas mentions, there's ways that they'll just take your pictures and they make the videos out of it. If that happens, it's really good.
Yeah.
I guess some of the other tools you could use with AI is staging. Yes. A lot of
Virtual staging?
yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, huge.
a lot of AI people I know that have started to do that. So that's helpful. It doesn't work every time, but sometimes it does.
That's what we found. We've tried to use it because we of course provide virtual staging as a service as well. And with AI, it's not quite there yet,
No.
but it's so we still do it ourselves. We still have like an in-house specialist who takes care of all that stuff.
Right.
But it's interesting. It's interesting because it's just like if you look at the new Adobe softwares and everything that's going on there, it's literally where this is the forefront. This is the beta. These are the beta versions of it, and to see how realistic it is pretty incredible. Actually, it's pretty incredible.
It's kind of creepy.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit for sure.
I think the other thing we can use with AI is, and like we have a platform called Lofty. Now you guys have it with the XP as well, right?
Oh,
No?
Lofty.
You guys used to have KV Core before.
We used to have KB Core.
I think they're moving to Lofty now. Again, maybe
Okay,
that's
I haven't
news
heard.
that wasn't out, but now it is. So, anyways, so Lofty has an AI system built into it. So when you are developing your own website, and you want blogs on your website, it automatically writes it for you, and the SEOs it for you. So if it knows what people are looking for those keywords, so they can come on the website registered to get you that lead. That's where I think AI is good. Some of the other CRMs I've used with the AI, they can qualify a lead really well. So by the time you get the lead, you know how many bedrooms, bathrooms you're looking for, if they're pre-approved or not, what's the timeline. Now, rather than being a cold call, it's a warm call.
For sure.
The conversion goes up significantly because they've already spoken to someone that has your name on it, but it wasn't you. You were busy showing those properties. Now you just go back, you take over the conversation, you give them a call, and you make that money,
Exactly.
right?
That's awesome.
So again, helping tool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. Similar to in past when I was doing e-commerce, I used ManyChat a lot.
Yeah, it's still being used in a lot of
Still.
platforms. Yeah,
Still, yeah, exactly. ManyChat was huge. Just building automations. Like with my team, we organize everything in a project management software called Monday.
yeah,
And the automations you can use in it, and it's unbelievable.
yeah. We use Zapier. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Zapier, yeah, I know Zapier. Yeah,
Yeah, we do Zapier.
we use Zapier for our email marketing.
Cool. You link it with MailChimp?
We link it with a different provider, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've used Zapier for a lot of different things. Like in our group chat. So let's say we use Airtable as well.
Okay.
So Airtable is similar to Google Forms, but it connects with your automations. And let's say I sold a property, I fill it up over there, automatically goes in our chat saying that, hey, Jas sold this property. And then everybody congratulates. It's basically hyping up the agents, right? You do that, and then automatically a notification goes to the assistant. A post needs to be created because this property just got sold. So stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very nice. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I want to ask both of you guys this: like, if you had a magic wand, what's one issue that you would fix in modern day society or the world?
I think I touched upon it. I want people to be more real.
More real. Real broker.
Sure.
If we're going down
That's the
but
description.
Signing up now.
yeah, but I want people to be more real, man. I want people to be authentic, genuine.
Yeah.
I don't know if a magic wand is going to do that, but people are too in their heads. They care more about what other people think about them. They want to become poor by showing that they're rich, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And that
I
could be
understand exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
that could be, I don't know, watching like wearing expensive clothes or whatever it is, or even the mindset part as well.
The truth is only
Pretending.
what you get away with
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
society.
It's the perception.
Right.
I would say people should be more honest and be authentic. It's going to be such a nice world where you can actually have real conversation.
Yeah. If you think about it, like our average customer is like a young couple, right? That's just got out of college or something, right?
Yeah.
Average jobs. Like, how are they going to relate to like that like $2,000 per month BMW that you lease that you can't afford, right? Or just a wild example, right? For example, you have to be relatable, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really impress anyone. You're just making yourself a fool.
If that's all you have to bring to the table, then yes. You know what I mean? Like it's a combination of a lot of things, Shiv. Like if you're giving them a call and they've connected with you and then you show up in a BMW, it just says that you're actually a good realtor. So think about it this way. So now you've added value to them. Now, if you show up in a car that's prestigious, they'll be like, okay, you're doing good in the business, and they will have more confidence in you. So there's a way to do it rather than be like,
That's fair.
look at my Ferrari, look at my Lamborghini, look at my, like if that's all you do, then that's a no. Like add that value first. And then if you want to bring, like for example, me, like I don't buy nice cars because to flaunt them. I'll buy cars because I love driving. Like I've had good cars even before I was in real estate. So real estate has nothing to do with me, with my cars, right? So if I don't add value to you, my cars have nothing to give you. My cars are for me. It's not for what I want to show in the public.
This is a very good point. Very good point.
That's a unique way of thinking of it for sure. For sure.
You gotta, like, especially with the first time home buyers, and again, as you were mentioning, people are watching Selling Sunset. People are watching
Oh yeah.
those shows online, and to them, success looks like everything that's flashy and blingy. And then they have this anxiety coming into Edmonton and buying this new home. To them, it's like, if you don't have a decent car, you're not successful.
Got you.
But that is where you bring in that value and have that conversation, take that anxiety away from them. Now you can drive whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. To what extent do you think being a successful agent is about keeping up with appearances?
Depends on your clientele.
Okay.
I think if you're only dealing with investors don't care as long as you're getting them the best deal.
There's no emotion.
There's no emotions. It's just a numbers game. If you've done a good job for them once, they know you can do it for them again. Now it doesn't matter what you drive, or it doesn't matter how you dress up. But I would say this, your first impression is the last impression. So yes, dress to impress. When you're meeting a client for the first time, give it your best shot. Don't go in your pajamas, your sweats or shorts. Don't.
Yeah.
It's a business.
That's
Take
true.
it seriously, right?
Yeah.
And same goes with your like things have changed now. But when I talk to the older agents, they tell me that sometimes they had to take people in their cars to show them houses. Now you're telling me you're going to take your client in a shitty car that might break down. I'm not asking you to drive a fancy car, but it still needs to be kept up to date and whatnot.
Fair enough. Yeah.
How seriously and how do you want to be taken? What's your brand?
Yes.
Is what you're going to bring to the table.
Yeah,
If you only want to do $300,000 to $500,000 of houses here, drive a Honda. I don't care. Nothing against Hondas, but drive a Honda for all I care. But if you want to get into the luxury side of things, you do have to show a little bit. You do. Why should someone trust you with a $2 million, $3 million property if they don't see you're successful? And usually when people are successful, what's the first thing they buy?
A car.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Or a motorcycle.
That's true.
Depends who
I can't do
you are.
showings on
Yeah,
motorcycles.
no, fair enough.
Have someone sitting on the back.
Yeah.
You can pick him up and take him for. I assure you, if you do that to a young guy, I was like, hey, I'll pick you up on my bike and let's go look at some houses. I think he'll appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think so.
I need to get an extra helmet then.
Yeah.
I don't know about the insurance, but yeah,
Yeah.
the liability there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay to the SUV, man. Stay
Yes,
with the
please.
SUV, yeah.
It's way more comfortable, honestly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're just about wrapping up things up here. You guys up for a rapid fire round of questions before we go?
Sure. Bring it on.
Rav, you ready?
Sure.
Cool.
I'll
Cool.
start.
What is the biggest purchase or trophy you've made from selling real estate?
Oh, you said he'll
Okay,
start. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Biggest trophy from real estate. To be honest, I'm not
It's
sure.
rapid fire. It's not take your time.
Roasted.
Yep. I'll skip on this one.
Let's skip.
I'll pass on this one.
About my Audi RS5.
Yeah.
That's the biggest purchase I've made from real estate.
Nice.
If you could describe the reason for your success in one word, what would that be?
Being genuine.
Relationships.
Relationships.
One word, describe what you guys like the most, absolute most about real estate.
New homes.
That there is no ceiling of what I can do.
Yeah, that's huge.
The unlimited potential.
That's huge.
And at the same time, helping not just people buy and sell, but also other agents become better agents. The opportunity is endless.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Is time freedom or financial freedom more important to you?
Freedom in general.
Freedom in general.
Freedom in general.
What does your freedom take? Time or?
I would say time, because at one point you'll have to buy your time back. That's what you do when you have an assistant as well. You're literally buying your time back. So going back to, yes, time.
Yeah.
Right now, I would say both time and money.
Time is money. Time equals money. For sure. And well, thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank
Where
you.
can everyone find you? If you guys want to work with two
Last-
of the best realtors that I've seen, I know a lot of realtors, but these guys, they're incredibly genuine people. I would highly recommend them.
Absolutely.
Last time someone asked me this, all I said was just Google me. But I'll give a better answer this time. Okay. Social media, if you're talking about Instagram, is Jas_A, or my phone number 587-444-4440. The easiest number there. So
Laksha, can you please put the thing on the screen? I'll put all their information up.
Yeah.
And what we'll put in the description as well. If you are watching or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, it'll have to be in the YouTube description. So you'll have to go give us some views over there too. But
And are you guys taking on new team members?
yes. So I'll explain this in a better way possible. It depends if they want to be on the team or not. We've got basically an a la carte system for what you want. Again, as I was going back to, it's not about us, it's what you want. We can figure out a play for you. Like if you tell me you want to make $100,000 this year, we'll have a play for you. It's up to you if you do all of that stuff or not, but we'll have a plan for you. And at the same time, as I was mentioning about the Elite Agents Collective, that is something that we're going to focus on really heavily, where people can still come in, still create their own brand, but still have access to a lot of stuff that the team does.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
And Rav, where can everyone find you?
Just
The best new home specialist in the city.
search me on Instagram, Rav Ahluwalia, or call me or text me 825-995-5555.
Jesus.
It's very easy. Wow.
Awesome. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Awesome. Any final words, guys?
No, I just appreciate you guys so much for having us here and actually having honest conversations. Means a lot. And this was awesome, guys. This was super.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. I mean, you've, man, I don't say this lightly. I mean, things you've said, I really appreciate.
Of course, man. Of course, my pleasure.
I'm
Pleasure
going to watch this over again and
100%.
reflect. So,
Absolutely. So it's not very often that people genuinely, take the time to actually say things that, will have an impact on you. So I really appreciate that.
That's the whole point of having a podcast.
Yeah.
To be real.
Yeah. You're right.
real broker.
Real broker.
Real broker, real people. Yeah. Leave a real like on the video.
Be real.
Awesome.
real.
Well, thank you everyone for watching or listening. It's been a pleasure. Take care. God bless you all. Peace.